Wow, it all aligned so beautifully.
Yeah, that's impressive.
What happened? What did you do? What did you do? Sound it out.
Good shit. Good soup. Good soup. Mm-hmm.
You got it, man. Yay! Hey, everybody.
Hi. I've been good. I've been real good lately, actually.
That's
I'm really
great.
grateful because like the world is kind of coming back from where it was, and that is awesome for me. I'm an extrovert, so being able to do stuff is great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
I kind of like my mask, I'm not gonna lie. I'm one of those people. I don't want you to see. Oh, you go
I love
extra
it
with it. You
because
put the
it's
hood on
saving me
too.
money. I only have to do my makeup for half my face. The rest of it's going under the mask.
Got some pragmatism right there.
Foundation's $40. Like,
Fuck.
good makeup is really expensive.
Especially for brown people.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Well, you're
I
not a
mean, I
lady.
don't think you're being ignorant. You're stumbling upon a struggle that like femme and femme types have to deal with. Because like, not only is it hard to find shades that match you if you have like the more quote unquote difficult skin colors, but like they're expensive. Good quality is expensive. You need to know color theory when you're walking in to try and get something to match. It's otherwise everyone's gonna be walking around looking like the early 2000s when everyone's face was orange and the rest of them was not. We don't want that. We don't want to go back to that.
The party clown. The party clown.
Yeah, we've come a long way since the drugstore makeup. But that's why I like the mask because I only have to do from like the bridge of my nose to my forehead. I am. I am from DC. I was born in DC, raised in Maryland. I grew up in Kensington, around the corner from Silver Spring.
Hooray!
Hey, that is great. Pretty much, like, uh, Kensington talks a big game. It's like half Silver Spring, half Bethesda. That's it. Like, I hanging out my stomping grounds is downtown Silver Spring. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that was my yeah.
I remember City
Yeah.
Place.
It was a cool arcade. No, I know what you're talking about. I do.
Maryland had some banging arcades back then, man.
I remember that like
Oh.
before the AFI opened down in Silver Spring, there was a movie theater at the top, like top floor of City Place. And like it was weirdly the like kind of like the classiest movie theater. It was like built really nice. The architecture was really great, but nobody knew it was there, so they only showed shit movies. It was very bizarre. I
Hey,
think
if they did Rocky Horror, that would have been a good cash in.
oh, that
They're
would
one
have
of
been
those theaters.
perfect. I think the only movie I ever saw there was like The Wedding Planner with Jennifer Lopez when I was like
Hey, that
11.
was a classic.
Was it though?
No, it was.
Was it?
It was
Like,
good. It
no,
was good.
no Tina shade. I love me some J-Lo, but not in that movie.
Selena. I'll take that
That's
one.
true. No, you're right. You're right. You're right. My
Right?
brain just edits
That's
in Selena instead of
uh
J-Lo. She did that good of a job.
she made Selena's actual dad cry when she showed up in like
Aww,
makeup and outfit and all that. Keith is my daughter. Anyway.
that's great. That's emotional. Right.
It's true.
That's gotta be rough because usually like biopic movies like that happen so far after the person's lived that a lot of their immediate family isn't going to like see it. So it's got to be
Mm.
real rough and
That one
strange.
was fairly fresh, right?
Oh yeah, because she passed away in like the 90s. That movie came out in the
Or like mid 90s,
2000s,
2000s. Okay,
maybe like the real early 2000s.
1990s and early 2000s is all
It's like
a
a blur.
blur. Hmm.
Yeah.
It's just 10 years ago. Your
Yeah.
eyes. Come on. Yeah.
Try again. Tomorrow, I shouldn't date this. This is going on a radio. You don't have work tomorrow. Like, I was about to say what date tomorrow was. I'm like, wait a minute. You're not supposed to do that with recorded stuff. Yeah. You need that
Wait,
anachronism.
what day is tomorrow? Oh, is tomorrow Labor Day?
Yes.
Good for you guys. I don't get Labor Day anymore. I'm sorry.
Oh. Oh. Very neat.
That's Scotland behind you. Yeah,
Oh.
behind
I
me.
didn't know that the Hokage was in Scotland. That's neat.
They love them out here.
Really?
You
Wow.
can't see it, but they're wearing kilts.
You know, that does make sense. It does kind of cut off at the waist. I couldn't see it for sure. Naruto is just like, oh, I gotta get back so I can go to my haggis tent instead of ramen. What? I gotta stop. I will keep going making Scottish jokes.
That's impressive. Hey man, haggis is the chitlins of the Scots.
That is a very true statement.
I mean,
I feel like we've gotten so derailed already.
this is a travel show about the UK.
Yeah.
So sorry. You want to take
With
us
a
someplace, D?
well, no, I'm just saying. I'm like we hit on Scotland, Selena, J Lo, City Place. Like we've been all over.
What a ride.
Ah, that's a loaded question. It's been a roller coaster of the least exciting kind. That's the best way I can put it. Because like, you know, on one hand, like it was nice to have free time away from the day job to be able to do stuff, but at the other hand, like I love my illustration work and being able to go into conventions. And I'm also an avid LARPer. I work a lot of LARPs, and those were all shut down. So I had like an entire year. It was like having a whole year where you just are stuck alone with you. So, you know, I feel like I'm one of the like many, many, many people worldwide who like found themselves stuck in their own company and they were like, oh, I should get medication. Like, I'm not. This isn't how people should be. So like there were some rough patches, but there were definitely some really good parts. I did take care of myself, and I started the journey of continuing to do that, and now I'm in a really good place. It was rough for a
Great.
little bit though. I don't want to do it again. I'd rather not.
Yeah. It's so weird to think how different it was for everybody in their different situations.
Oh, for
I was
sure.
not lone. I was not lonely. I've got 3 kids, so it was just like, please help me.
Oh, so you were just trying to stay alive.
Oh my god.
You
I
were
was
in the trenches.
I was drowning. Like me and the missus were just drowning for like a solid 2 months before we were
Oh
like, I have to
gosh.
go to daycare. We can't do this.
I could never. Exotic aunt energy only. Yeah, no, COVID was one of those things where it affected everybody so differently, but there were some
Yeah.
things that were like so universal. Like, I still can't believe that I used to just let people breathe near my face for free.
You used to be okay with it, right? You didn't be like, yo, man, like,
But I
back
Yeah.
know
up,
though. I
bro.
know
Like,
what you
back up.
mean.
Back
Or
up, cuz.
like giving people like a firm handshake when you first meet them and then not having to immediately go desanitize your hand seems so strange to me. Not even to talk
Yeah,
about like conventions, because you go to conventions, you can get up to some nonsense when you're done working at the end of the day. And I
for
was like,
sure.
I used to accept drinks from strangers. I would just sip out of flasks from people I don't know.
Is that you know what? When you look back at it, it's like, is that a bad thing? It's like, excuse me, miss. What's your name? I got you this
Right.
drink right here, girl. Like, why? Thank you for this open drink.
Sure, I will drink your random concoction of liquor. Oh no, not anymore. Maybe COVID made me a little smarter with my decisions.
I know I just like stopped going to. I mean, I wasn't really much of a clubber before, but like now it's like there's no chance. There's no chance. Like I ain't going nowhere. Like
That's
Yeah.
fair.
party, go to a go. No, no.
No,
Nah,
thank you.
I'm good.
I'm good.
So have you been? Are you a gamer? I never really asked if you were a gamer.
I love video games. I'm
Yay!
very, very bad at them.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Um, I
We're
definitely love
all
video
terrible.
games. I like the ones that are a little bit more like story driven. I
Hmm.
definitely love the video games with heavy narrative focus. And my best friend he works in the video game industry with Deathsoft, so I've like been plugged
Ooh.
into some video game stuff for years. But I am trash garbage at playing them. So I like play them under the shame of by myself alone in my room where no one can be embarrassed of me except me.
And see your lack of eye-hand coordination. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You'd think I'd be good at it because I am an illustrator, so I have hand-eye coordination, but just for some reason head to hand to controller just doesn't work with me.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way with keyboards and mice and playing the game. I just can't. I just can't do it. Like playing with the
Yeah.
device that I work on, it's like trying to drive with a piano. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no way that you can tell me that this makes sense. Like,
But we're
Right.
so proud of you though. DRS just got into PC gaming.
yeah, I'm terrible.
So
Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thank you. I'm
we worked
trash.
on that for a long time. But we're glad you're here.
Yeah. I've been
Just
trash
stinking
for
up the
like,
place with your smile
I
and your
know, right?
presence.
You can always take solace in the fact that no matter how bad you are not worse than me. So there you go.
I don't know, man. If you ask the right people, man, they might disagree with you. They might really disagree with you. Like,
So anyway, what's the latest game you played?
um,
What's up there on your repertoire?
so the last game that I played all the way through to
I hear that.
completion, which sounds creepy, um, was that in over 2020's disaster, I played through the entirety of the Dragon Age franchise, which was
Oh,
a
cool.
lot of fun. It was very, very long, but that's great because I needed to waste a couple hundred hours.
yeah.
Yeah.
And recently, I've been continuing into my foray into Bioware with Mass Effect. I've picked up Mass Effect Legendary, and I'm struggling my way through that. I'm
Oh boy.
garbage.
The first one, no, the first one is garbage. It's not you. It's the first one. If
So
you're still
people
on the
keep
first,
saying that, and I hope
Hey.
they're right. I like the story thus far, but I can't
Yeah.
do the stupid driving missions. I
oh,
keep exploding. Yeah.
the driving missions are tough. My only advice for the driving missions is just keep moving. Just keep moving. Spray and pray. You know what I'm
Just keep
saying? Like,
moving. That's a good one.
as long as
That's
you keep
already
moving,
my shooting strategy. So
that's it.
You may not hit a damn thing while you're moving, but they can't either. So,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
stalemate, guys. What do you want to do, huh?
As long as you
That's true,
spraying
that's
and
true.
praying, you're gonna hit something available. Eventually, eventually
Mhm.
something will hit and hopefully explode, and then you just keep going.
I just want to hurry up and get through Mass Effect 1 because BioWare has this thing where like the first one's all right and then the second one's real good. And I want to like dig my claws into that. I want to get in there.
It's a huge jump.
I'm on like the last mission and I can't beat it because it's like I just didn't enjoy it so
He
much. But
just didn't want was there for that.
yeah, like it's just like, yo, man, like I'm not feeling this, man. Like this is
I've never seen that happen before. Like he's literally on the last mission. I'm there, like I'm even there to help him through it. Like, okay, go left, go right. All right, the boss
Nah.
is right over there. No,
Nah.
but he's
Nah.
what are we doing here, dear?
Hey, let's
Well,
play
what
this
are we
league. Let's
doing
play
here?
this League of Legends, bro. Let's play this League of Legends, fam. Like,
I mean, I gotta give props to BioWare for their like ability to like make stories that are that compelling. Because
Yeah.
like when I got to it didn't hit me that hard with Dragon Age Origins, but when I got to the end of Dragon Age 2, I remember I was living with different roommates at the time, and they had gone camping for a week, so I was completely alone, and I was just like, I'm gonna pretend that I'm 16 years old and live off of like Lunchables and sports drinks and caffeine and just play a 65-hour video game straight through.
I love it.
And I got to the end, and that was the first time in a video game where like I was so immersed into it, and I got to the end of the story, and then it cuts to the credits rolling, and it was like 6 a.m. and I'm just staring, crying silently at my screen, being like,
had a moment.
there's no one to talk to about this. This game came
Yeah.
out 15 years ago.
Yep. But I gotta tell somebody. I gotta tell it on the mountain. The greatness
Yeah.
that I experienced. Nah, I feel the same way. Like you
Someone
play
please talk to me about this 10-year-old game that I have feelings about now.
right now. It makes all the difference right now for someone to want to speak to me about this game.
Please. I luckily did have the friend who was like, you need something to obsess over, go play these games. I could message her when she woke up, and I was just like, I need this. But no, like I get not wanting it to end, because that's kind of how I feel when I get to some video games. I'm like, I don't want to beat it.
Yeah, I don't want
Then
I don't
it's
want the
over.
story to end for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want it to stop because once I beat it, it's truly over and I might not come back.
I know how that feels. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That happened to me with Hollow Knight recently.
Yeah, Hollow Knight. Like I don't want to beat it. The story is too good. I don't want it to end.
It's gone.
I
It's
don't want
done.
to go.
Mm-mm.
Jess, do you remember what got you into drawing? Like, was there like a specific event, or is it just like something you were always good at?
So it's a multi-part answer, right? Because like everybody when they're little kids, they like to pick up crayons and markers and stuff and draw on whatever the heck there is. But when I was really, 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 really little, like 3, 4 years old, really tiny, my dad can draw. And my brother and I would make him draw us Disney characters. And he would just sit there and he would like, I'd be like, draw me like Thumper. Thumper is always the one I wanted to draw, like a rabbit from Bambi. I don't know why. And I would watch him take a blank piece of paper and a pencil, and he's tired, he's come home from work, and he's just like, okay, and he'd like draw me a picture of Thumper, and I'd be like amazed.
Aw.
So I think a large part of the reason that I started drawing so young is that I wanted to be like my dad.
That's tight.
Yeah.
That's tight. That's a super good reason. You know.
It's very wholesome of me.
Yeah, it's a very wholesome reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can see Brandon now with his kids. It's like, this is why I play PlayStation 7. It's because my dad always did.
Yeah. And like as I got older, I found more reasons to stick with it.
Mhm.
You know, whether it was because it was something that as an extremely ADHD child could hold my attention long enough for me to
Oh
get
boy.
interested, or I like cartoons, so being able to mimic what I saw was really important to me. And then, you know, once I got like good, quote unquote, for a kid at drawing, it got me positive attention, so I kept doing that. Um,
So you was
but
like winning the awards and everything. Like you were getting the artistic
uh,
awards and everything.
yes and no. Like when I didn't take any formal art classes once I hit like middle school because I had to choose between like art or music, and I picked music. And so whenever I was like in like an art summer camp or whatever, I would get awards for art. And whenever there was like a school thing where they're like, oh, you need to do drawing as part of this, it was like kind of the rush of people being like, I want to be in Jess's group. And I was like, okay. But also like drawing was one of those things that calmed me down whenever I was having like anxiety or like those weird angsty teenage feelings. Instead of having to like not know what to do with them, I could draw and then I'd feel better. So it was kind of a self-soothe as well.
I mean, that sounds like a lucrative plan. Actually, making a ton of money off of something that soothes you. Like, I think that's
Hmm.
like
I
uh,
wouldn't say ton.
to rake
I
in the cash flow from drawing so much.
I am not living out of my car. I'm doing okay, but
Just
yeah,
find somebody
no.
who wants to launder money.
Listen,
That's the latest. That's the latest. That's the latest conspiracy theory I've heard. I have no idea what's the validity of that. That's hilarious. It explains a
I
lot.
yeah. No, but like it is very nice that art is something that that there's a market for.
Yeah,
So I
Mm-hmm.
do get the monetary satisfaction for people being able to show that they appreciate my art by
yeah.
buying it.
I mean, that's how it was for me when I was a kid. Like when I was a kid, I used to love fixing stuff, and I was getting older, and I was fixing people's stuff for free, and I found out that I was a sucker for not getting paid. You know, like it was like, what? I should be getting paid for this? Like I'll never forget it. I fixed somebody's computer, and I remember I was broke as hell, and I was like, before I could even ask for some money, I already fixed it, and they were like, thanks, bro. And it was like as quickly as they was there, they was gone. And I was like, yo, I feel like a sucker.
Oh man.
I feel like because he was talking to me, he was like, yeah, man, that would have cost me like $150. All right, bro. And he was just out. Like I was just like, dang, like
You
yo,
can't even give me 75, you're
he,
still getting a deal. Like
Yeah.
can you throw me a dub? Like and that's why I was like,
yeah.
yo, I need to make money
Hey
off
man.
of this because I would do this for any reason. Even now to this day, there's nothing. It's like playing a video game for me. There's a puzzle, there's a person. I gotta figure it out, and I still love the process of going through that role.
I mean, I understand the urge to want to help people out with things that you can do, but at the same time, like if people actually care about you, they will respect you enough to pay you for your skills.
Yep,
For sure.
and yep. Whatever you
People die
do,
from exposure. I don't do anything for exposure or for a favor. Favors don't pay bills, and you can't eat thank you.
I can't eat thank you. Oh my goodness. That should have been the quote right there for the show. I can't eat thank you. And I know you I met you at BlurredCon.
Yeah.
How do you feel about BlurredCon in relation to other conventions, and how do you like it as far as a vendor? What's the vending experience of
Uh,
BlurredCon compared to the other conventions?
BlurredCon is by far my best convention on my circuit,
Yeah.
and as a vendor,
Yes.
um, people who go to BlurredCon, not only is it a place that has a large proportion of people who go who are people of color and want to
Hmm.
support people of color, but there's also just a general appreciation for art that focuses on Black people. Um, so it is really nice to be able to sell my art there, and I make a lot of money when I go there. Ergo, I like it. I also love the staff that runs the artist alley specifically, and I like the people that I booth near, and it's always been a really great experience for me. That being said, I've seen a very limited part of the con outside of the artist alley because I'm always so busy.
Oh, yeah,
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing, but like, and I have mixed feelings about BlurredCon. So like from a vendor, from like the artist standpoint, it is a really good, really lucrative con. I'm gonna continue working it. I'm gonna continue going, and I'm gonna continue supporting it. I understand and agree with every single criticism I've seen of the con.
So I want to have the conversation, and I want to step carefully because we also have other folks who come to the convention and whatnot. I mean, come on the show to talk about BlurredCon, but I am curious about like the truth of how it really is. You know, like what is the real truth of the situation? Like, did you agree with? Like, I remember one of the big things was the cosplay. Um,
The cosplay drama from the cosplay contest.
Yeah, the
Yes.
cosplay contest.
I
like,
really want to know more about that too.
so like you got to understand my perspective, right? So I'm there covering as press, and I'm going there, you know, me and my other homeboy is there. He's from MTR. He's like a Baltimore radio guy. And me and him, we're there. We're taking pictures. You know, we're seeing everybody. So we have pictures of everyone who was in the convention. We were like, okay, that person is tight. That Trigun guy is gonna win. You know what I'm saying? That person has all types of arms and stuff. That's tight. Princess Snow Black as fuck is a tight idea. You know what I'm saying? They got this Mandarin like chick doing it, and she's wearing all metal. Like all these great cosplays, right? And while this is going on and they're doing this, they have like a wedding in between, right? And so me and my homeboy are like, we're stunned by the wedding because we had no idea that was gonna go on. So we're like, a wedding? This is amazing. This is great. We see the wedding go down. We see the nuptials and everything, and we're like, that's a great show. We walk out. You know what I'm saying? Like we're thinking that's it. We're done. It's like we don't need to see who wins. We know whoever's gonna win. It doesn't matter because you know that wedding was the real star here, and I was wrong. I was mad wrong. And
I feel bad for the people who got married that their wedding is now upshined by this cosplay drama. That's terrible.
I didn't even think about it like that. I didn't even.
It's like if somebody proposes to their like girlfriend at your wedding reception, you're gonna be mad. But no, the cosplay drama. I have a strange perspective in that it was just completely observational for me. Like I got back from the convention and I was still riding my like con high of being happy to be back, and then just like watching this happen on Facebook, right? And I just kind of sat there with my bucket of popcorn watching and like kind of having like quiet conversations in DMs with some friends of mine who were a little bit more vocal about it. And the thing that I found was like at first when all the information came out, I was pretty willing to be like, I understand why people are really upset about this, but when you look at what's going on as far like from a legal standpoint, like I understand why they made the statement that they made and why they were like, legally my hands are tied. Somebody enters a cosplay competition because they bought a ticket to this convention. We can't tell them they're not allowed to enter because they are white. That is discrimination. And once they are in that cosplay contest, we have to judge them based on the skills of their cosplay, not because they are a white person. Sure. And I was like, so like on one hand, legally, I get that. You can't open yourself up for a lawsuit by saying out loud, we are not going to let a white person win our cosplay contest.
And I also want to speak on the diversity of the judges. Like if it was like all white judges, I'd be like, hey, there's a problem here. But it was like diverse.
It was a diverse panel of judges. And then we got like, we as like the audience watching this unfold got more and more information coming out. Like the fact that the winner of the cosplay contest was going on to represent BlurredCon in the cosplay contest at AwesomeCon.
Ooh, I
Or the
didn't know
fact
that.
Oh wow.
or the fact that the young lady who won with her costume, sure, she did make it completely by hand.
She
To the
made it
point
by
of
hand?
she did. All of the cosplays that got placed were handmade. And so, like, or the young lady who won, she did make her cosplay completely by hand, but she had entered in several other major convention cosplays with that cosplay and lost before. Or finding out that that's petty. I'm not going to bring
You talking about Aerith? You talking about Aerith,
no, no, no,
right?
no. No, I'm talking about the original winner,
Oh,
They
the card
changed the
captor
winner?
Sakura.
Card Captor
The card
Sakura?
captor Sakura.
Yeah, Card Captor Sakura, yeah.
So, like,
That
you
ruined
find
her
out things
life.
like that, or finding out stuff that, like, the second runner up is a black femme with a degree in fashion design
Oh my
who
goodness.
handmade and tailored Aerith's jacket to fit her perfectly.
Yeah, she was dressed up specifically like Aerith. It was crazy.
And it just kind of it sits hard when you have to think of there's not only you can't judge people based off of their skin color when they enter a competition that has to do with talent, right? You can't do that, but you need to be aware of the optics of what you have when you are voting as judges. And you need to understand that whether you mean to or not, awarding a first place prize to somebody at a black convention who is white, who had entered that cosplay at other conventions and lost, who didn't iron her skirt, and the person who you give
There's the
second
honesty.
place to, the person that you give second place to is a dark-skinned plus-size woman.
Yeah.
It's going to look like the reason you didn't pick her is because of one of those reasons.
Yeah. Now, I don't think that Card
I'm
Captor
not saying that
Sakura
it
was.
I'm not saying that it was the reason, and I'm not saying that the girl who did the Sakura cosplay didn't make an amazing cosplay. She totally did.
She totally did. Yeah, like I will say, like the Card Captor Sakura, in my opinion, okay, in my opinion, she wasn't gonna win. Like that, like straight up, I didn't think, but it was respectable. I looked at her, I was like, cosplay Sakura. I seen the show. She got everything down to a T. The wand looks real. Everything she has on looks real. Even the little bonnet thing.
It's
Like
definitely a good costume. No one's
it was
trying to
definitely
take that
a
away.
good costume.
Yeah.
She shouldn't have won. You know what I'm saying? Like I was looking at it with other cosplayers, and they were like, "Yeah, that guy could have won. That guy could have won.
Yeah.
That guy
Well,
could
and
have
like,
won."
I think a lot of the pushback also came from the behavior of some of the judges on social media afterwards. People were coming up trying to defend their choice, which honestly they shouldn't have been in a place to have to do.
As a judge, you shouldn't have to defend.
You shouldn't have to, but that's what came down the line, especially with your audience who nobody has social skills anymore after COVID. Everybody's got their feelings on the cuff. So people are upset, people are saying things online, and some of the things that the judges said in response to the criticisms were just like petty pot shots.
It was a
calling
knee-jerk
these
reaction.
it was a knee-jerk reaction, but calling these extremely well-made cosplays, oh, did you want us to give the award to the guy who made his costume out of cardboard? And I'm like, if it's a full mech suit, yes, I do.
Yes.
I mean, but yeah,
yes.
Right.
If everything in the cross works, does it matter if it's made out of cardboard? You know what I'm saying? Like
exactly. And so I think that there was a lot of issue. People had a lot of issue with that kind of tone on top of everything else. And at the end of the day, I'm like, this was a terrible situation that you can't be expected to avoid at large conventions, especially a large convention like this that is aiming toward being diverse and to elevating Black voices. Because at the end of the day, the onus to recognize that this is a space that they're a guest in and thus are not entitled to enter goes on white people. Like it falls on their shoulders to recognize this is not my place to enter and I'm not going to do it. And we all know how well that works.
I heard that it was the winner's friend that talked her into going.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
You know what I'm saying? It was a person of
color.
Oh
no.
It's like you know what I'm saying? It's like Proof inviting Eminem to the battle. You know what I'm saying? It's like an Eminem winning. You know, it was like
But I mean,
Yeah,
that's
but
the
Eminem
same.
would have deserved to win.
But
That's my
that's
gripe.
yeah,
Is that like at the end of the day was the best costume picked hands down? No, it wasn't. That's my gripe. And
yeah,
then you throw everything else on top. A
exactly.
mess. Yeah.
And so like I think it's one of those situations where we America as a whole needs to have an entire lesson in how to deal with complex situations like this, but it it also comes down to saying like, oh, but I heard her friend encourage her to enter. That's up there with, oh, I can say the N-word because my black friend said it was okay. Black people are not a monolith. Just because your friend said it was cool, you need to have the presence of mind to think, maybe this isn't cool. Maybe this representation should go to somebody else.
I love how all the other races looks at black people as like a hive mind. You know what I'm saying? Like we all just like linked up with the same thing. It was like, yeah, the N-word card is for all of us. It's for all of us. It's for everybody, anybody's opinion. As long as you agree with one of us, we all like jumped in and we all agree with it. And I think that that's craziness. You know,
It is. It is absolutely crazy. And it's the ingrained racism that we have a problem with, where it's because what it is it's deflection. By saying, oh, but like my black friend said it was okay, what they're really saying is, you're not allowed to tell me I'm racist.
yeah,
As
Yeah, a
opposed to
little sheep
hearing
block.
what the
Yeah.
actual answer, what the actual thing by me saying, like, oh, you shouldn't do that is, it's you've offended me.
it's
I am
one of
of this
those.
demographic and you have offended me with your action. Please stop. And their response is, I can't believe you're offended.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's real. Like,
That's becoming a common thing too. Like people almost taking the okay from one black person, using it to, jump the line at Burger King wherever they can.
Right.
yeah, like you don't understand. Nah, I could do this. I have black friends. Trust me, it's cool.
Listen,
You know.
listen here. Look. I've already ran it through like 5 of y'all.
I did more due diligence than any other white guy. I deserve
I
the
Also,
even read
like,
a
same.
book.
and it's the willingness and the excuse that people have to attribute to, like, oh, it's cool, I have black friends. Have you seen the inside of their house? Because I'm willing to bet you have black acquaintances.
Hmm.
But
That's
I'm
super.
Yep.
we got really real there. I'm so sorry.
It's
Uh,
okay.
no, the
Well,
point
you
is, but
gotta be
the
real.
with the blurred con drama, I still am going to support the convention, because also you got to keep in mind this is the first convention in this area dedicated toward black nerds. And the
Oh.
only thing, as an oldest child, I can guarantee you, the only thing that you are guaranteed by being the first to do something is that you're gonna fuck up.
Ooh. Ooh.
You're gonna make a mistake and you have to be able to learn from it. I'm not gonna fault anybody for not wanting to support that convention anymore. I totally get it. You don't have to support anything. I'm going to, because I think that the problems that this brought up in BlurredCon are fixable. And if everybody who wants
Absolutely.
them to be fixed leaves, they're never gonna.
It's never going to
What
be fixed because then it's going to be a desperate ploy to try and hold on to anybody who deals with us at all, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
And like, no shade to people who are too tired to do this. That is totally legit. I'm not trying to put fault anywhere. It's just
mhm.
like, that's why I'm going to continue supporting BlurredCon by going as an artist, because I make bank when I go. I like the people who I interact with when I'm there, and the vibes are on
Hey.
point.
I went to Morehouse and I remember a white guy graduated one year, valedictorian, and
Oof.
it was one of those things where it's like, well, I'm really happy for him. You know what I'm saying? Like
He was a nice guy.
he really deserved it. Like he
Yeah.
really got like all A's. Like he loved music. Every time I talked to him, he loved everything black. Like he most loving guy ever. But I still feel as if that's a bad look. You know what I'm saying? Like I still feel as if like wow, maybe that shouldn't be. And even then, like he straight deserved it, and I can't be so certain with the girl who played Sakura, and I feel as if the same kind of way is like that girl was probably caught the worst of it. Like I don't
Oh
even think
boy.
She
she
definitely did.
understood
Yeah.
what the possibility of the outcome could have even really been for her. She was just doing something because one of her, you know what I'm saying? You go off
Yeah.
thinking that one of your friends says it's cool, so you say the N word and you get your ass stomped. Like,
Well,
Right.
you know what I'm
Well,
saying?
exactly.
Like,
And I do want to like give her a little bit of a shout out because I think her response to the criticism
was the best way.
was the best way she could have
what was her
handled it.
response?
She
Her
did the stand token response of if I don't understand and it's not my place and I'm sorry for even being in it.
Yeah, and she was not pressured by anyone officially from the convention to give up her title, but because she saw the way that the Black community was responding, she went, I understand. I made a misstep. I'm giving up my title. I'm returning the prizes. I should never have done this in the first place. I'm
That's what I'm-
sorry.
Kudos to her. Kudos to
Yeah.
her. Do you think you find fault with her at all for even entering just the same as Dearest? Do you think you would find fault with the gentleman who went to Morehouse knowing it's an HBCU? Like, I really want to know what was the lead up in his mind to want to go go to Morehouse. I really want to know what was the lead up in this lady's mind to
I think he
do
was
this
raised by.
convention
I
of
think
all
he was raised by
conventions.
Black people. I think he was
Oh yeah.
literally adopted and raised by an African American family, and I think that's part of the difference. There is like being a part of a family and being on the
Yeah.
outside. I think there's a
Yeah.
difference between towing the line for people of color and then growing up as a son of people of color and seeing and feeling and being impacted by their
Mm-hmm.
situation is different than towing the line for somebody.
And
Um,
there's a true sociological and psychological phenomenon for that, which gets a bad rap because of what's her Rachel Dolezal, but it is called it's a condition called transracialism,
yeah,
where you are adopted into a different race's culture and raised in it. Thus, you have that cultural knowledge.
Oh boy,
Um,
that
but
person.
for yeah,
Forgot that
don't
name for a second.
you shouldn't think about her too hard. But
Let's close that window.
my answer to like the do you think that she is at fault, it is one of those like yes,
and
but in the same way that if a 3-year-old gets their hand stuck in the cookie jar, it is their fault for putting their hand in there. Like sure, it's her fault, but that doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
and it doesn't necessarily resolve the problem. I think.
I don't think it does either.
Oh sure. If I have a problem with this, honestly, for me, it's not with her. If white people weren't allowed to enter the contest, they should have said, "Hey, listen,
But
no
you
white, no
legally
whites."
you
And how do you
can't.
do that?
Legally you can't. That's like say like Brandon. Imagine if there was a contest for breakdancing, and then they're like, "Nah, I'm sorry, dude, you can't come. Why? You know why? You know what I'm saying?"
The only way they could do that or anything similar would be to guarantee the proportions of people of color entering versus white people. And the only way you can guarantee that is if you have a pre-application where people can self-select to identify themselves as one race or another, with the note that if you opt not to identify yourself, we're gonna assume that you're white. And that is just so much extra work for a cosplay contest.
That's a lot of that's a lot.
That's a lot of work for a cosplay contest.
Who's
you know
got
what
all
I'm
the
saying?
time to go through applications and photos and is this person enough? Well, we need to get this many people of this kind of race and
Man.
this many. No, this isn't a college application. We're
Yo,
not
what
looking.
you
I'm
doing
sorry.
right now? Hey, put
I'm
on this
sorry.
t-shirt. Put on this t-shirt and mask.
got-
we got to level things up.
I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, it takes so much effort, so much planning, so much to be racist. It takes some,
really do.
How else? How can we get these people from voting on their favorite cosplay? Let's have a cosplay literacy contest.
God, it just takes so much extra work to be a bigot. Can you just not?
Oh boy.
That's super real. No, I thank you for sharing your opinion on it, and I think it's one of those things that,
I was curious.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I was there, but I wasn't there, like I was there, but I wasn't, like I heard a bunch of noise, but I thought people were just clapping, like I was just like, oh, they're really excited about something.
Mhm.
I didn't know the situation that was going on until after the fact. And most of what I heard is what people put online and what, and in Hilton's response to it. So, how did you see the response, and and how
I
do you
did. I did see the original video before it disappeared and then reappeared. Now it's on YouTube forever. Uh,
how did you feel? Oh,
Boy.
is that a is that how you
Oh
feel
I
boy.
about it? Is that how you
my criticisms of that video, like I understand what he was trying to do.
right?
And I personally, I mentioned before that I do a lot of LARPing. I run a lot of LARPs. I
Mm-hmm.
staff LARPs. And one of the things that we always put forth is the week of joy, which is also known as the week of silence. Any kind of criticism or feedback you get on this game that you just ran, I'm not responding to it for a week because your emotions are going to be on the cuff after you run a giant convention, especially if you're tired. If you run a giant event, you're going to be so emotional, you're going to act irrationally. Give
Yeah,
yourself a week.
yeah.
So my
Buy
only
that.
criticism is that I think he responded. I think he responded too quickly, and in doing so, he responded very emotionally. And I get what he was trying to convey, which is I can't discriminate against anybody. Yes, that includes white people. Legally, I will get sued.
Yeah,
That's what he was trying to convey.
yeah. Like, yo, I could get sued for this.
And
This can mess up the money.
So he
he
was
got
pleading.
it. It
That's what
came
it
out through
sounds
this
like.
filter of him being in his feelings, and also him like the huge criticism that I have from that video was he went off on a tangent on how the judges and the cosplay contest winner were receiving death threats. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, we live in the era of receipts and none of these have surfaced. Why are you so willing to believe that the Black community would give death threats without proof? Like, that's some internalized racism you got to sit with on your own, Hilton. Why were you so willing to believe the worst of people without any evidence?
I
So
mean,
those are my criticisms of that video.
uh, uh, I think it's a tough. I think it's a tough. It's a tough. Like you said, right? Like, I think that one thing he could have done better is possibly waited longer. I know it was a thing that a lot of people around were probably looking for a response,
Mm-hmm.
and we're wanting to know what happened. And I think it's very, it's very tough to be in that position of like, yeah, I have my own beliefs, and I'm doing it. Like, it's hard to do something for a good holistic reason, like a generally good reason, and then something messed up happened in between. You know what I'm saying? Like you have
Yes.
all these good intentions, and it's gonna be so great for all these people, and it just takes like one or two situations to really impact the whole thing that you're trying to do. The road to hell, right?
Right.
And I think that he has a lot of good intentions, and it's tough to do good and still be completely legal. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's tough to
Yeah.
do the right thing every time, because the right thing is not necessarily always the most legal thing that you can do.
Yes.
And
So like
Sadly.
I understand what he's having to face as the head of chair of this convention.
mhm.
I also understand the people who are super critical of him because at the end of the day, I'm like, when you make yourself a public figure like that, you are subject to major amounts of criticism. And that's
Yeah,
kind of like the price you pay for being a public figure.
yeah.
People are going to criticize you and you need to be able to observe that.
I mean, that's how
You need
you
to be
know
able
you
to take
make
that
it.
in.
That's how you know you made it. When people tell you you suck, that's when you hit it big.
Yeah, you need haters, otherwise you don't know you don't know you're making it.
If
But like
everyone agrees and supports you, you're doing terrible.
exactly. That's
Strangers, if strangers are coming up to me all day long, hey man, we just love everything you're doing. You know,
Has it happened?
well, because I'm fucking up, dear. That's now, admittedly, no one has also come up to me in the street and just kicked me in the shins. So unfortunately, I
Yeah,
haven't gotten there
yeah.
yet either. I got to work on that.
we gotta step up our game, dog.
You
No
need
one.
at least two people that viscerally hate you at any given time. Otherwise,
We need those guys. You ever seen somebody stream, and then there's somebody who always jumps in and it's like, I hate you. I hate what you're doing. I hate how you live. I hate what you're doing. That's a stupid comment you just said. No,
Oh,
that's how you know. That's how you know that you've really hit it big.
yeah. My name is
people have taken
considered a
it way
curse
worse.
word for 3 different people,
Mm-hmm.
and I hope that number grows.
Yeah, Yeah, where people are just like, I hate her. Are you gonna watch her next post? You better believe it.
You better
Yeah.
believe
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
hate her
comment.
everything.
I'm gonna engage
Because
with the audience.
well, I'm petty, right? I'm petty. So
Awesome.
I'm sitting there and I'm like, if people are gonna give the time and energy to be like, I can't even hear Jess's name. I'm so angry. I hate
Oh
her
yeah.
so much. I can't even hear her name. I'm just like, why are you giving me so much power over you? Also, I think about you never. Like,
Never. I don't lose any sleep. I don't lose a wink of sleep. Not at
not
all.
at all.
I go to sleep with a smile on my face over
Mm-hmm.
it. Tell me more how you feel.
I'm just sitting in bed, grinning like an idiot, like they hate the fuck out of me. Like,
Excellent. You know what I'm saying? Just
As
sitting there like, yes.
as
Yes,
you count
indeed.
your receipts
perfect.
from the last con.
But yeah, I think it was
Not bad.
but I appreciate you for sharing your candid statement. You know what I'm saying? Like I appreciate you for coming in and speaking your truth on it. I think that BlurCon will make changes to make better. You know, definitely be a lot more there when they make their decisions the next time. Like next competition they do, they're real. Those judges are really gonna think hard. You know
Oh yeah,
about like it's gonna be like, hey, you know, like they're gonna like we gotta stay behind. Like we gotta make an agreement. We gotta stay behind this no matter what. Like what is really just because I really feel as if those guys was just like, oh, she made everything. She made everything. Card capture
But it did.
secured. Made
Never
everything.
and
We're gonna
mind.
like
go with
I,
her.
Never mind.
this may be a rumor. I shouldn't be spreading rumors. This
What's
is a
up?
podcast,
No,
Oh,
they're
but
fun.
this
Come
may
on.
be a rumor. I heard
no.
that one of the things people were really impressed with the original winner for doing was hand dyeing the silk that she made her costume out of, like that salmon silk. And the judges were very impressed by that. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, you can buy salmon colored silk. You shouldn't get props for taking the dumbest and most expensive way to do something. Like, you can buy salmon silk. I don't know.
I agree with you. Like I
That's
think
one of
it,
the reasons why I was like, I don't think this is even the best cosplay. So I understand why so many people are upset. I don't know
it
why the judges
It's
thought it was.
you know, like
that's what I'm burning to
for
know.
me personally,
Right.
there was an Indian dude who was Wolfwood from Trigun, and I think that dude should have won. Yeah, he took forever. He took forever in that competition, but everything on his cross worked. Like he unraveled it, and the guns popped out, and
That's cool.
the rocket launcher opened up,
Right.
and the machine gun, you know, was there,
That yeah.
and yeah, it was made out of cardboard, but I feel as if like the level of work that he put into it, you know, was very real. He kept the mashed up cigarette in his mouth the entire time. You know, like he really, and to me, for a cosplay, is like that's what sells it for me. It's like you put a lot of work in it. You know,
Right.
you're not a designer or an engineer. You know what I'm saying? But you could tell, I could tell you put a lot of love and energy into it.
Right.
And I feel the same way about who else? The Mandalorian who did her costume. I feel that way about a lot of people who did their
She looked
costume.
great. She looked great.
She
God,
it was beautiful, you know.
I'm always in awe when I see Star Wars cosplayers in their armor.
It's like how you
Mm-hmm.
do that. Like
It's
it
so impressive. Couldn't be me.
couldn't be
Like,
me. Yeah, straight up. Like you put a lot of work into it, and I think that the at least the good thing that they take out of that experience is that they're gonna put a lot more effort in their decisions next year, and hopefully making sure that you know the decision that they choose can never be questioned again. You know what I'm saying? Like it kind of it
mhm.
knocks down the validity of the entire contest to be like, well, what if another white woman wins? You know what I'm saying? Like that's gonna
Yeah. And
that
I hope that this is the very, very public backlash will result in white con goers really giving it a second thought before like, oh, I'm a guest in this space. Am I occupying a space that I'm allowed to occupy, or am I taking a seat from someone else?
oh
Because I feel like that's what a lot of people felt was going on with this competition. And hopefully because this backlash was so public and had so much coverage from, different online media sites that
Oh,
it
yeah.
will give white congoers that like extra step of maybe I should think before I do something.
Yeah.
That feels so sad though. I don't know. That feels so sad. Like a white person should be able to enter that
I mean,
contest,
there was
I'm
like
not saying
a
they shouldn't.
there was
but
a
they shouldn't win if they don't deserve to win.
there was like
Yeah.
a
That's the
4 or
problem.
5 year old little white boy who was doing like a Zelda Majora's Mask cosplay,
Aw,
Crush.
who was cute as a button, right? Cute as a button.
yeah.
I don't know if he would have received the same backlash if that cute little kid won.
That would have been unfortunate for
It would,
humanity
you
if
I
he
know,
did.
don't think that would have
I don't think
happened.
that because he's like literally a child. You know what I'm saying? Like they had to
Yeah.
help him off stage. You know what I'm saying? Like it was, but it does what it does make me wonder about, you know, future endeavors, future things, and I do think that how things should be versus how things are. I hope that that helps lead us to the way that things should be. You know what I'm saying? Like I hope
Hmm.
this event helps lead us to the way that things should like folks should know whether or not they're stepping on somebody else's toes, and it shouldn't be like somebody has to knock them over the head for them to think about it, but it should be consciously thinking of as like, well, you know, let me not get in the way of progress, I guess.
Right. And statistically, from just looking at the convention, BlurredCon as a whole, this year there were a lot more white
Hmm.
con goers because a lot of people who would usually come weren't comfortable coming out because of COVID.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh,
totally fine.
that
That's
is
totally
super
fine.
real. That is super. Like 70% of most African Americans are not getting their vaccines in America.
Right.
Oh
So
boy,
I'm
that's a
not,
stat.
if there was going to be a year where a white person won, it
That would
makes
be the
sense that
year.
it would be this one. But it's that fact that the winner of this year's cosplay contest was going to represent BlurredCon somewhere else that doesn't sit right. Like with that
That's
kind of a
yeah.
knowledge, it should definitely be a person of color. They don't even have to be black. Just just a person of color.
No, but that's
Yeah.
such an unfortunate icing on the on the tragedy of
I
this cake. It's
I feel like this wouldn't have had as big of a backlash if that wasn't part of it.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
if that wasn't part
yeah.
of it, it would have just been like, well, that was weird. I hope it doesn't happen again next year.
Hmm. I don't think that it will happen. I think this is also one of those situations where because COVID and everything was going on, it's I don't think there'll ever be. And not to mention, like I got some pictures, bro, of people who weren't even in the competition that would have won the competition. You know what I'm saying? Like if there were people who were there at
Yeah.
BlurredCon that if they joined, they would have won.
Well, and
Got to play to
that's
win.
well, that's another thing is that there are a lot of, especially with black cosplayers, a lot of them, even though they are phenomenal cosplayers, because they've been burned at so many other conventions of losing because they are black. So many are just like, I'm not going to enter the cosplay contest.
I'm not even
That
gonna
F
waste
it,
my
I'm not
sucks.
going to
time.
do it. Um,
I hope not. That's for this convention. Like I
I was gonna
understand if
say,
you're going to that
I
convention.
hope that in the future at BlurredCon, they will be
Right.
able to make like the convention will be able to make a community where those people feel like, well, I can enter here. I know I will be safe here.
Yeah.
But you know, we'll see.
We'll see. I
I
have
have a
high
lot of
hopes.
opinions for something that was none of my business that I'm not involved in at all.
This is none of my business. I barely was there. I didn't even see what was really going on, but I am vehemently against it.
I'm
Can't
so
tell me
nosy.
nothing.
I'm sorry. Like,
I don't. I mean,
It's okay. No, it's totally fine. One thing that I would like to talk to you about that's really big for us is that me and the guys over here at CoPlay are trying to start a game, right?
mhm.
We're trying to start a game. We don't know nothing. We don't know nothing about starting a game. You know what I'm saying? Like we are in IT and law and sales and management. We have never even worked in the gaming industry, but we wanted to
hey,
make a
man, that's not
game.
fair. We know a little something about making a game.
We play a lot of video games.
We're coming along. It's a process, you know, and we're taking that first step.
Like I'm really happy for the process. Like it's always been.
It's
I'll be
fun.
honest. It's always been a dream of mine. You know, playing a lot of games. I've always talked smack and said that I can do better than this. And this is one of those situations where we really get to actually work together as a team and do something better. And I think one of the things that we wanted to have is make a character of color, right? Like
Mm.
I like Miles Morales. I like I like Spawn. I like the few heroes that we have. I don't know if you see it, but I got a drawing of T'Challa, Prince
Every
T'Challa back
now and
there.
then it like creeps in through
It,
the
it like
green screen.
it
Yeah,
like
It'll
creeps
there it
just be
in.
like
goes.
Chadwick Boseman's head, like
The
he's haunting you.
the
It's kind of
ghost of
cool.
T'Challa. He watches over
There
me. You
you
know what I'm saying?
go.
He comes in. He comes
Perfectly
in and he
placed
says
above Earth and
hi.
the heavens.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
exactly.
He bestows his blessing upon us, and I wonder like what kind of things can we make in our story or with our character where we avoid certain tropes, and like how do you think that we make a good hero who is a person of color? Is it taking his color into consideration, acting like it's not there? Um, how do you feel as if folks should react to it? Should they even act like he's a black guy? Should it just like, or what if we just set it in a world where everyone who's there is the same? How can we avoid black tropes that we hate? Like I think of Barrett, right? Like I always think of Barrett when I think of a black video game character. And I feel as if Barrett, even though he was a loving father and, was fighting a revolution, was a black guy who swore a lot with a gun for an arm. You know what I'm
He
saying?
had a
Like,
pot. He had a potty mouth.
yeah, and I wonder like how do we make a character who is not what some folks would describe as a stereotype of a black video game character?
So I think that understanding the stereotypes and their history helps with making sure that you design characters that are outside of it and kind of break that, first of all. So most, I would say that most people of color, most black people, aren't going to write a stereotypical character because the stereotype is a caricature. It's a mockery. You're not going to do that. But there are some tropes that do get assigned, especially in media, to black characters, especially in like sci-fi or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
that I think it'd be good to avoid. Um, I hate the overly pious black character trope myself.
Yeah.
Like,
You ever notice it's always the spiritual dude who's a person of color?
oh, it's there's a term for that in media analysis. It's the fairy
Oh
god
no.
Negro.
The fairy god Negro.
What?
Yes, it's a stereotype. It's a thing.
The fairy god Negro.
Yo, it's always like a Green Mile. You know what I'm saying? That what's the name of that Will Smith with the golfing dude? There's always like a
Yeah,
pious Negro
Oh, that
who.
person.
it's the vaguely
Gotcha.
magical, extremely wise, vaguely middle-aged black
Yeah,
character.
Yeah.
it's always like a magical broke ass Negro. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
he can't talk right, but he can cure all different types of diseases and
and
issues.
it's interesting and strange because it's kind of like the modern spin on the Uncle Tom, which is the male version of a mammy.
Oh
Uh-huh.
man.
Like, because, like I said, when you look at the history of why these tropes exist, it
It's
always
because
comes down to like vaudeville and Jim Crow and racism, which makes it really easy to avoid uh,
damn.
for Black people who are writing it. So like, I don't like that. I don't like piety in that. I'm also a big proponent on the one thing that I think white characters, especially heroes in stories, so like video game heroes or comic book heroes, have over black characters is the privilege to be imperfect without criticism.
Mm,
So seeing, especially playing a video game, right? Because that's an elongated narrative.
yeah.
You have a lot of time to spend with this character, of being able to get down and see what is imperfect about this person, because the imperfections of their personality is what makes them human, you know.
Mhm.
So being able to like delve into, oh, maybe this person, yeah, okay, they're the leader of a group and they're very, very strong. Maybe it's because they don't like to feel vulnerable, and maybe that's something they learn during the thing.
That's
And to
dope.
have that happen to a Black person, to give them that freedom, that privilege to be imperfect, will do so much better than making them perfect from the get-go. And you see that in like the really good Black characters that we have in media. The ones who have imperfections, the ones who have flaws, are the ones that we are more interested in as a whole,
Mm-hmm.
rather than the ones that can be played off as perfect. It's true of white characters too. Like, unless people actually get deep down nitty gritty into the comics, people get annoyed with Superman because he's perfect. They like Batman because he's fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. Batman is the most extra regular dude ever. You know what I'm
He's
saying?
just a billionaire.
He's really
That's his
just a villain.
superpower, is being a rich white guy.
Yeah.
But because he has so many flaws, people find him really easy to relate to. And until very, very recently in media, Black people haven't been awarded that kind of privilege, because it's similar with women, where you fall under the pressure of being a role model. I can't have a toxic Black character in my story because, well, what about the role model for everybody else? And having a video game character that is not aimed at like children, you can say, well, this isn't the audience for somebody to need a role model. I'm telling a story. I'm developing a game. And yes, I have a hero, but he has flaws. She has flaws. They have flaws, which makes them human, but they're still an interesting and dynamic character because of those flaws.
Mm, that's super real. Wow, that's deep. Like I think that's something that I don't know if we have really thought about it in that level of detail. You know, like when we were talking about the story and certain things um, that that we can do to make the character seem more real, it would be like like let's have him go through a loss, let's have him go through a struggle, but you make it very, you bring the point of actually being able to show those vulnerabilities, and show that he is a flawed person, and that is that is something that, like, I don't think that we've ever thought of. Like, I think we kind of was just like, we don't want him to look like a stereotype, like we don't want him to curse as much, or we want him to seem smarter or have a bit of a smart mouth. But I think that you really hit the nail on the head of, like, allowing him to have faults and not holding him up to, like, I guess that hero standard. Like, I think of, like, one of my biggest heroes was Spawn growing up. Like,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much because he was Black. That was really, like, mostly what I had. It's like, like, you think of the Black characters that were out there that could have been a hero, and it was like, what's his name? Like Black Thunder, Static
There you
Shock.
go. Static.
Yeah.
Static Shock, and it was pretty much Spawn. Like, that was pretty much it. And
We had Wesley Snipes as Blade.
There's Green Lantern.
Green
There's
Green
Lantern.
John.
Lantern.
There's
Yeah.
John.
But
Yeah.
even Green Lantern, like John Stewart, has the problem of being so
Oh man.
perfect he feels
Oh
like a
man, that guy is
cutout.
so perfect. Yeah.
He's so perfect. But if you
Oh
compare,
boy.
even just in Disney, people like to relate a lot more to Virgil, to Static, because he's not perfect. If you watch the old Static Shock cartoons, he messes up all the time.
All the time.
You don't get that with your perfect Green Lantern. Even the entire point of being a Green Lantern is you kind of have to be perfect before you're allowed to do it.
Yep.
But I think that's one of the reasons that people don't really give that much of a crap about Green Lanterns. They don't really care.
That's real. Because I look at Green Lantern,
No, I
Don't
agree.
care.
No,
I
I
don't
agree.
ever,
No,
I
I
don't
agree.
never
Because I
think
want to
about
like
Green
Green. I want to like
Lantern. I
lanterns,
think there
but
was like one episode where Green Lantern played basketball with some kid in the inner city. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was like their ploy of trying to make him relatable. And
and
it
they
did
always
it did nothing for
sorry.
me. It did nothing.
Yeah, and I think
Oh boy.
with heroes in media, we do fall into that issue of trying to make all of the Black heroes a little bit too perfect. take freaking Falcon and Winter Soldier as an example. I loved that show, but Sam Wilson wasn't allowed to have a flaw. He had to be perfect.
Yo, you know what? He was perfect. He didn't
They
drink.
did touch on that in the show. They touched on it in the show.
They did.
That he had to be perfect because he was the Black Captain America. And like, okay, good for you, Disney. You're making a statement. But at the end of the day, it didn't stop him from being perfect. Like him saying, "Oh, I have to be perfect." It's not. You weren't showing that it was like you weren't faking it or anything. You were perfect. So
hey, he's got some big shoes to fill.
Yeah. Well, that's the point of Captain America. Yeah. The propaganda machine.
Yeah.
But no, like having a character having a character with flaws will help him or her, I'm not gonna assume, stand out when it comes to video game characters. Having a character that has some depth, and even if it has like major character flaws, like not being able to trust people, being able to watch them overcome that is how people get attached to characters. So I think that'll make it stand out. Also, like switching up the idea. Like if you look at something and you're like, oh, you mentioned you don't want the stereotype where he curses all the time and he's really rugged. What if he's really quiet and well spoken?
Yeah.
Flip the script.
Yeah. I think that's a really good idea. It's like let's he's gonna be he's gonna be tortured because of his loss, but to make him kind of that silent kind of, I guess, pensive, is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, silent and thoughtful.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, bless his heart, this is also the first game that he's in, the first game we're making. He's not gonna say a lot.
I was gonna say the silent protagonist is a trope in video games for a reason, and I think it's a good one. It gives people the ability to project onto the character. That's why everybody likes Link.
Yeah, Link don't say nothing. You know what I'm saying?
He don't say shit, and we love him for it. Like,
because
he's really good at grunting.
If he says one word, he'd be like, that's it.
Yeah, he's really good at grunting.
His like thing. That's all he's got. That's all he's got. That's all you need. But at the same time, if you run against him being like completely silent, it will. I think unless you really give him a way to express himself in games as a character, it will just kind of feel like, all right, you put a black skin on a mannequin.
It's a fair point.
Just like with like, it's like if you're playing an RPG and you can create your character, even though you know full well that's going to be exactly the same as everybody else who plays this RPG, because you only have like 4 choices for realsies. So
you only go in one direction. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Well,
you know,
you gotta.
I'm playing through Mass Effect. My Shepard is black. It does not matter to the story of Mass Effect.
That would be hilarious if one of those Mass Effect type games. If one of those would like switch things, because in Mass Effect, you can choose a survivor, you can choose Earthborn, you can choose something else, and there's like one instance per game where like somebody will walk out and be like, "Hey, I heard you're from Earth." You know, it'd be hilarious if there was like a game in the future where it's like, "Hey, I see you've got Asian eyes over there." I want to know how that makes you feel.
Or
here's
like,
a quest.
Here's what I want. I want in Mass Effect, BioWare, you can have this for free. In the next Mass Effect game, I want Shepard to walk out, and if you've made your Shepard black, they walk into a room with another black character, and they just give him that one nod, and that's it.
They do the, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's good, yo? Like, they do.
It does not happen. It does not happen if you make your skin too white. That's it.
That would sell it so much, but then I would have to nod to James. You haven't played Mass Effect 2. There's unfortunately a black male in Mass Effect 2 that I don't really care for too much.
Why don't you care for James?
They made him flat. They made him very flat.
I thought James was gay.
I mean, I'm angry that BioWare doesn't just make everyone bisexual. Wouldn't that be easier for coding?
It would be a little bit easier for coding. You know what I'm saying? Could smash everybody.
Just don't change the code. But that's one of the problems that you run across is that people who are afraid of making a bad example of a black character just makes them completely two-dimensional. And that's been a problem with it's been a problem with predominantly white spaces portraying people of color for years. Disney's Pocahontas.
I remember the first one. I know that there was a second one. The second one was trash.
I mean, they're all trash, but she had no personality. None. They were so afraid of offending like Native people that they made her nothing.
They kind of just made her like a princess. You know what I'm saying? It was like she was kind of just like a person who was there. And even in the second one, she kind of seemed like they were like indoctrinating her a little bit, like, yo, you need to wear this dress, you can't be walking around in your bare feet.
That was the plot for the second one, really?
That was the plot for the second one.
Okay, because I was about to say, like, Disney fucked up by making Pocahontas in the first place.
They should not. They did much better when they did it again with Moana.
Right, yes. Moana's my jam. Agree.
Yeah.
It's the same story. But,
it's pretty much the same story.
Yeah.
I cry a lot less at Moana than I cry at Pocahontas because I know what
that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, and the major difference, which would be the same difference if with you all making a video game versus a predominantly white group making it, the difference is that with Moana, they had a lot of people who were Pacific Islanders contributing to the story to make it feel authentic. So you also have the advantage of not being white and writing a protagonist of color.
Indeed.
We finally have an advantage, Brandon.
It's the only time.
I mean, like,
we got it.
That's the most important thing to me in this project. It's not so much that we have a black protagonist. I can think of a lot of black game protagonists if you give me enough time. I'm drawing a blank right now.
Yeah, anyway, I was about to say, like, whom?
Well,
Barrett, come on, yay!
Barrett,
because there's a huge difference between having a black protagonist in a white story and having a black story.
I mean, black people have been performing since ever. Black people have always been performing. Black people have had a hard time writing, directing, creating, and producing, though. That's where things get challenging, and that's my favorite victory for this game that we're doing.
Yeah.
I think your game is going to be really great, and I don't think you're going to run the risk of like stereotypes or tropes as long as you're telling a story that you want to tell that will emphasize, because when you write a story, you always put a little bit of yourself into it. Everybody does. So you're going to be putting a bit of your experiences into this, and just like honing into that will make it so that you don't have to worry about your character coming across flat because you're making a character that feels real to you. The other thing that you mentioned a while ago that I did want to say is that I am fundamentally against the idea of just pretending that the race thing isn't there.
I don't see color and all that.
I hate that.
Jesus is invisible.
I hate
Jesus
that.
is clear, you know what I'm saying?
Hate that.
Like, I can't stand it.
It's very nice when people say that they're colorblind, but at the end of the day, blind still means you can't see. So
it means that it's even worse because you just refuse to see it. Like, it's convenient. It's convenient for it to not be shown.
I've never been a fan of that. Yeah.
I hate it. So like, it doesn't have to be overt. Like, he doesn't have to like sit on his soapbox and be like, this is the troubles I've had because I am a black man in video game. No, that doesn't have to be it. But like, acknowledging it in some way would be great. And it can, like I said, it can be as small as giving that nod to the other black character in a scene.
I was about to say, we're going to steal that idea. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, for real.
He's going to walk in. He's going to nod to somebody. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be like a maintenance dude or somebody. He's going to nod. The dude's going to be like...
Yeah, you can totally steer it. My Venmo is at... like.
And so we're going through the design process right now, making sure, you know what's really funny, you know what's really stupid, the one thing that we've been more obsessed about than anything has been his hair. Like we're like, yo, we gotta get the black hair.
I'm looking at your sketches right now, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm loving his hair.
Like,
I love locks. I love locks. I do.
Great.
You know, I'm loving
the
his
hair is what we paid for, to be honest. To be honest, all the metallic stuff, the metal augments, no, we started with the Afrocentric hair because that took like 250 artists off of the queue when we.
It's not easy to do.
It's not.
The only resources that most artists have to learn are Eurocentric.
That's real.
Like, it takes
That's
a
what
lot
it comes down to
like learn outside of that. Same with like painting melanated skin.
With everything.
It's different than white skin. I've gone on tangents about it. I have friends that are like, "Oh, I just don't know how to color people. I don't know how to color black people." I'm like, "You should learn.
Hey,
It's not that hard."
bringing it full circle, makeup. It's just the way of the
Makeup.
world, unfortunately.
And it's, you know, finding artists who and like programmers who know how to do that is difficult. You don't want to. I mentioned earlier that I have a friend who works for Bethsoft. I'm not going to say his name because I'm about to ditch this company. But all the black people look green. They look green as fuck, and I don't know why.
Green, yeah, they look like hobgoblins. You know what I'm saying? Yo, it's hard. It's hard to get black right in video games, and I think that that's part of the reason. Well, I think
it's because people don't know how to light black skin.
I think it's the lighting, and I think it's just like a lack of like people really act stupid. Like I look at Madden, like I love watching Angry Joe, and Angry Joe always goes into like the same stupid faces and the 3 haircuts that they have. And for like black guys, it's like you get cornrows, you get the fade, or you get the fro. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's all you
One
get.
hairline.
One hairline. You know what I'm saying? You don't get the Nike swoosh going back. You don't get the halfway balding joint. You just get like this. You get these 3 haircuts. And
that sharp square ass hairline.
That's
progress
it, you know
is progress. Progress is progress. I think like game developers and studios are finally delivering on the skin tone. I remember Soul Calibur 2, the character creation. There's a myriad of white flesh tones that you can use. And
you know, I'm gonna sit on my. Yeah, no. I'm gonna confess to being a terrible gamer again in that I've dabbled in playing The Sims, and mostly because character creation is a lot of fun, and that's all I want to do. I'm gonna make some hot people, and then I'm gonna forget about it and leave the game for like 6 months. But even a game where a big majority of the game is character creation messed up on skin tones for so long, so long. Sims 4 came out in like what 2017. They released a patch with better melanated skin tones this year. It took them that long to fix their mistake. So game studios are doing it, but like
it's slow motion. And
it's taking y'all this long.
Slow motion is better than no motion.
Go ahead.
That's true. That's true.
I was gonna ask, have you ever had a conversation about this with a white person?
I have. It usually ends in them looking at me like with that wide-eyed, "Oh God, she's still talking" stare of like I can't tell her to stop, but I don't.
I can't just walk away.
Right.
I don't want to silence
keep, like, maintaining really intense levels of eye contact while I keep going.
In my neck of the woods, it always comes down towards cost. Like, how much money do you want us to spend just so you can feel included? I'm like, some. I wouldn't mind you spend some money because I'm spending some money. I wouldn't mind you spend
I'm
some
spending
money,
including my ass. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, and those same people, if you were to make an extremely successful game where the only options for skin tone were brown, would be upset.
Very quickly.
So fast.
That game wouldn't even come out. Like somebody who's produced PlayStation would hit you and be like, "Hey, you missing some stuff. You missing some stuff. You gotta get that. You gotta put that stuff in there."
I would love to live in the alternate universe for 1 second, where like a major game comes out, like like a major game comes out in the character creation. The palest you can get is still pale brown, and then someone's just like, "I would like to see myself represented," some white guy. And just to be able to see the person of color be like, "Well, how much money do you want me to spend to include your representation?"
Sir,
that's what they should do.
All of the hair is like kinky and textured. It's like, well, it would just be too hard for us to change the engine to rig it in now.
Look, the majority of the world has kinky hair, sir. So I don't know what you're on about.
Just act stupid about it. Just be like, just come out with patches. You know what? My kingdom for a black shepherd. If shepherd, to come out default color is a brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've not seen that in a game that I can think of, actually.
Give it to Mass Effect. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I have a friend who insists on referring, instead of saying people of color, she says people of the global majority, just to make white people upset.
I love the underhandedness. Yeah.
I love it. People of the global majority. I love it.
I'm about it, but no, Mass Effect. BioWare does a pretty good job with character creation, but they do the complete erasure of it. you can make your character any color because it doesn't matter, which is fine in like high fantasy or sci-fi, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can all pretend that in the year, I don't remember what year Mass Effect takes place, 27 something.
Future.
Way
We
out
say we
there.
don't say distant future.
In the future, in the year future, that it won't matter. That would be nice. It would be wonderful
Yeah.
for us. We can exist. We can play in this space.
Yeah, I want Star Trek where everyone who's a human is on the same side and we're looking at aliens funny. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Right.
would like that.
Oh yeah.
But when you have games that are like, the one that comes to mind is like Infamous, the old game, the
I remember
Infamous
that game.
series.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun when it came out. But then you
Superhero
look back and
morality
you
sort of thing.
realize, oh shit, these people are supposed to be running around New York. I ain't seen one black person this whole time.
Is that true?
There's like none.
Yeah.
Even in the
Oh,
NPCs
no.
running around on the ground, like there's like none.
It looks like Friends in New York. You know what I'm saying? It looks like,
Right.
That's funny. All that money and all that emphasis they put on the design of the feel and the immersion of the game, and Lego Marvel superheroes did a good job of having black Lego characters walking around New York City.
Yo, like
That's
they really put thought into it.
Well, they had conversations and they listened to the community.
And they're like, yeah, it's just a palette swap. Like, why can't we just do it? It's just a palette swap. Like,
Hey, don't get me started, man.
But nah. Thank you for giving your opinion. Like, I think that's gonna help us a whole lot in developing the story for a hero, and knowing that just because we are people of color, it's gonna be much harder to fuck up making a person of color be a hero. You know, that does bring a lot of comfort to me.
Mm-hmm.
But besides traveling back to conventions, you know, what other plans do you have for the future? Are you planning on just drawing forever, hitting conventions? Would you like to make your own, be an illustrator, go the LaShawn Thomas route and make your own anime? Would you like what does the future hold for Jesse?
I would love. I'm gonna be making art and going to conventions until I can't anymore. I love it too much. It is really, it's really great, and I am super lucky to be able to mostly support myself doing it. And I'm grateful for that every time. I always have like a one day at a con where I'm just like alone in my hotel room, like just crying out of sheer awe because I can't believe I'm allowed to do this.
That's tight.
Beautiful.
That's tight.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff that I would like to be able to do. When it comes to my art in the future of that, I am not good at sequential art, animation, comics, things like that. I'm extremely bad at them. I would like to no longer be bad at them because what I ultimately would like to do is to be able to tell stories with my art. I love telling stories. I love writing stories. And I would love to be able to have that medium be something that I can like showcase and like make something that is important with it. So comics is definitely where I would love to go eventually. Yeah. I'm so bad at sequential art. I may have to bite the bullet and actually take a class, which I hate to say because I'm completely self-taught.
Yeah. Hey, man, Skillshare is real, man.
Right, exactly. I have my Skillshare subscription, and I'm like, you know what? I should probably learn sequential art. One thing
that I've definitely learned for certain with COVID is that any excuse that I had for not doing something is definitely my fault. Like I just didn't want to do it.
Well,
any kind
beat
of
yourself
training,
up like that.
It's my fault.
Well, that's not really true because you got to keep in mind with COVID, we weren't just at home for no reason. We were at home in a global pandemic, which was an acute mass stress situation.
Yes.
It wasn't like, oh, I'm at home because I want to. It was, I'm at home because if I go to the grocery store, I might die.
I can't just go pick up a banana.
It does tank some creativity, right?
That does.
So
yeah.
I try not to beat myself up or anybody. I don't want anyone to beat themselves up over like not writing the next great American novel during 2020. we were all just really focused on waking up the next day.
Yeah.
Unless you're a
Staying
sociopath.
alive. Yeah. I
Which
mean,
you have to be
that's
unhealthy
true.
you have to be unhealthy to thrive in that environment.
That's true. That's true.
Just do push-ups alone in the apartment. You know what I'm saying? Just every day, just fuck going outside. I don't need to go.
Just a big old year and a half montage like Taxi Driver.
Yeah, and I mean, I know a lot of people who picked up a lot of random hobbies in quarantine, like the quarantine hobbies, instead of like doing anything with the hobbies they already had. I got really into nail art for no reason.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like nail art and true crime. I became a white woman, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
Hey,
got into true crime.
Don't feel bad. I put my girl on the Angel. My girl was like, I don't watch this shit. I don't want. Huh. So he just saves people? Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
She's falling into the angel hole, man.
I like the one thing that I do like about post-COVID life is that everybody has given up every pretense of being kind of socially acceptable. They're like, oh, I can't like this because it's geeky, it's nerdy, it's stupid. And like after COVID, everyone's like, yeah, what about it? I watch children's cartoons. Fight me. I don't care.
I'm watching all Star Trek,
through.
Deep Space Nine, all the Star Treks, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anybody that you would like to shout out to who may be affiliated? Certainly not that person who's in video games because they make green black people. But anybody else who you think they do really good art, really good music, or they just really good or really help you or just really awesome? Any shout outs for anybody?
I feel like I should be like listing it off like I've won something or I'm at the Super Bowl.
I did that. I
need to shout out my partners and God, my family. No, there's so many people that I know who are just so inspirational and so helpful to be around that if I singled one out, I'd feel guilty about the rest of them. They know who they are. Like,
God bless them.
Shout out to my loved ones.
What about you though? Where can people reach you?
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook and unfortunately TikTok. That's where I spend the majority of my time. Unfortunately, it's cesspool, but it's fun. So my Instagram is at Jessie Draws and Stuff, and my Facebook is facebook.com/Jessie Draws. My TikTok is at Jessie Draws.
Thank you. Oh, I forgot to do this. We got sponsors. I'd like to thank you for coming on the show, Jessie. I'd also like to talk about Oyasemi Designs.
Yes.
Who does a lot of anime-related clothing designs, who does... they currently have stuff on Hunter x Hunter, Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia. They got stickers, they got T-shirts, they got everything. Anything.
Awesome designs. Anime. Designs made by fans.
Yes, designs made by fans. Great stuff. Please check it out. You get a discount. It's great. I'm terrible. Obviously, this is our first one.
We will still graciously accept this. We're not used to having sponsors.
We're not used to having sponsors, but we wanted to tell you we got sponsors.
For them.
But thank you.
Bless Oyasumi Designs.
Shout out to my man Rob.
Beautiful bastards.
But seriously, Jessica, thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate having your outlook and your opinion. It's been wonderful having you, and I hope we can have you on the show again in the future.
Absolutely, it's been a blast. Thank you all for having me.
Man, awesome. So in our departing quote, if you don't take risks, you can't create a future. In the words of Monkey D. Luffy. And,
well said, Monkey.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. This is D. It's my homeboy Dexter Doug and Jessica Comstock. This is CoPlay Media, and we are out of here.